Kiesel here.
Justin Kiesel. Justin, you're on your way over to Europe, I think, in about 3 hours.
Yeah, be headed to the airport in just a minute. Can't wait to see a lot of you there. And should be a great weekend.
Should be fun. We've got, so Buck is not able to be here. He's on his way over to the Europe Success Trip. We've got hundreds of people going over there. We've got, several hundred from Latin America. We've got 100 or so from the U.S. or North America, so it's a pretty good time.
Yeah, big. We've got a success trip happening in China right now from the Southeast Asia region, and lots of people there. So a lot of great things happening right now, but great to be with you all. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, today we wanted to dive into, spend some time together talking about the power of habits relative to Prism IO and speaking across all kinds of things. And maybe to introduce this was just in the discussion Joe Chang and I have been having via email over the last week. So Joe, as you know, chairman of our scientific advisory board, been with the company over 25 years, author of The Aging Myth. I mean, Joe really is the thought leader behind anti-aging and has spent virtually his entire life and career on this.
Yes.
So Joe and I, we were going back and forth, and the issue was all around, the world of intelligent wellness is heating up. There's all kinds of biomarker tracking capabilities, wearables, there's blood work, there's DNA, there's saliva, there's all kinds of trackers that are out there today.
More awareness than we've ever had in the history of the world around these markers.
That's right, and the awareness and the question that I raised to Joe is Joe. So if this this huge wave that's coming, how does Prism truly differentiate itself from everything else that's out there? And Joe, Joe's point was there's three core things that really separate Prism IO. Number one, he talked about the immediate 15 seconds change your life. There's really, from a biomarker and tracking perspective, when you get into nutritional health, blood work, there's only a couple of ways to really get that deep and that invasively. And blood work is not convenient.
No.
Now, obviously,
nor cheap.
Carotenoid tracking, nor cheap, nor is something you want to do daily.
No,
it's painful.
I'm not interested.
But to be able to track nutritional health and get a quick, biomarker readout in 15 seconds every single day is a major differentiator.
Yeah.
So that was number one. Number two, he talked about how it truly is a reflection of overall nutritional health. So across not just supplementation, but talking about the four domains of health, which is your diet, fitness, lifestyle, and supplementation. So giving active feedback on that. And then the third one was really the power of habits and daily habits. So utilizing it every single day. And that's truly something that differentiates Prism from anything else that's on the market out there around nutritional health.
Yeah, and don't you see that in really all elements of our life? When you form a daily habit for something, you start to become more aware. It starts to influence the decisions you make and your behaviors, and you start to feel that I've got some control because this daily habit's starting to help me do things in a more efficient way. And this certainly has done that for me. I know as I check myself pretty much daily, sometimes a couple times a day. It has changed the way I act. It's changed the way I eat. It's changed my supplementation, my fitness routine, even my sleep.
Yeah.
And so there's zero doubt to me that these daily habits start to influence the way we live, the way we act.
No, it's something that, and I know for all of you joining the call, as we get into today's discussion, as you have thoughts or questions, drop them into the chat. We have our team here that will pull them over, and we can talk about some of these things that are most interesting to you when we get down, especially the power of habits, Prism, what you're doing and how you're doing it to change behavior for yourself. And then we want to get into the business side as well, because there's a lot of applications on that side as well.
Yeah, a lot of application. Maybe I'll start, if it's all right, with an experience that my wife actually had. So my wife's a health teacher. She teaches 8th and 9th graders here at a school in Utah. And talk about a tough age to try to influence, right? If you think about back when you were in that age. And she, as a health teacher, she has to teach this nutritional unit. And it's a several-week unit on nutrition. And so the very first day, she decided she wanted to scan all of her students. So she pulled out a Prism, and she said it was by far the most engaging experience that she had in the classroom to this point in the year. And the students were so interested, and they were so competitive, as we all are, with, oh, no, my score's better than yours. No, my score's. But what was the most interesting was at the end of the day, after all that engagement, she said she had so many of her students come back the very next day and say, I ate my fruit and vegetables last night. And there was a consistent pattern that happened over the weeks of these students that were more aware of this. And we even ran into one of the parents at the gym a couple days later. And she said, what have you done? My daughter is talking about eating fruits and vegetables. She hates fruits and vegetables. And now she's eating them because she has to improve her score. She's like, what is this score? And so it led to a really great conversation. So it just reminded me that this is a powerful tool to help influence behavior. Even 8th and 9th grade boys and girls can be influenced to go eat their fruits and vegetables because they got their score, they got awareness, and knowledge is power. And with that power, it went and influenced them. And she was really impressed to see how many of them improved their score over the weeks. They just finished the unit. They had to score at the beginning. They had to score at the end. They got some extra credit if they improved their score. Quite a few of them improved their score as they focused on eating their fruits and vegetables, taking their supplements, exercising, sleeping, and just living a better lifestyle. So it was just a very cool experience to see these young people so influenced by it, and their parents grateful that there was a tool that helped them be more aware of where they were and what they could do about it. So it was a pretty cool experience.
I'm sure everyone that's on the call here, as you have your Prism, you're utilizing it in your families, with your friends, in your daily work. Hopefully, you're seeing the same thing. To me, exactly what you said, Justin. It's a reminder every day of what am I eating. What are, how is my workout or my exercise, my movement going? What are the daily habits? Did I get good sleep? Am I out in the sun more? It's just creating consciousness around these domains. And then, of course, the supplementation.
Right.
It's an active daily reminder that I need to be taking LifePak Nano, not only Age Lock Youth, which is my favorite product. And so it's just reminding that, right? Which is amazing. So, and I know I'm starting to see some questions pop up, Jeff. If we can pull those into the chat so we can start to address a couple of those as we go. So please drop your questions in as we get to. So thinking about this kind of this daily habit thing and really where we're heading with Prism IO. I know that we've had Steve Hatchett on to talk about this. We've had Joe Chang on this. We've had Jesse.
Yep.
We've had Haley talking about kind of the roadmap of where we're heading with Prism IO. And you, all of you know, as you open up the app today, I think we're in version 1.5 of the app. A lot of tracking capability around the scoring itself, but not as much tracking today around the behaviors and the domains in other words, the diet, the fitness, lifestyle, and supplementation. So we have a lot more data on the supplementation side. In kind of talking through this with the team, you're going to continue to see more and more data tracking around these lifestyle or fitness or diet questions as well. In the meantime, one of the things that I've started doing, and so we've talked a lot about the power of ChatGPT, of Grok. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday who's doing the same thing that I'm doing, which has set up basically a nutritional health coach. And you just set that up in Chat, or you set it up in Grok, or again, Perplexity, any of these. You put in your fitness goals or your lifestyle, your health goals. So I want to get better in these domains in my life. I even load in my Prism IO score.
Same.
And then I ask it to give me a daily, weekly, and monthly regimen of what I need to improve in order to drive this. And frankly, I'm a little surprised at how accurate this thing gets.
Well, Chat actually, especially as I've continued to put information in, it just gets smarter and smarter.
Yeah.
And so the recommendations that are coming back to me, oh, it looks like you didn't sleep very well this week, or you missed a couple workouts, but even I'm entering the types of fruits and vegetables that I'm eating, and it's tracking this for me. And so, the more I enter, the smarter it gets, and the more relevant the information I'm getting back. So if you haven't tried this, give it a try. It's really fascinating to see when you enter this information with whatever platform you engage with, the information it provides, the recommendations it provides, the reminders, and it's been a powerful tool for me too.
Yeah, it's fun, and one of the reasons that I get excited when I go through the product roadmap and the device roadmap with the team is what is coming in future releases. So we do have AI intelligence already built into the app, and we're training that information right now, or that AI to be more and more intelligent as we move forward. And so you guys are going to see on the Prism app over the course of the next few months a lot of additional insight that comes through these derived AIs. In fact, there was a question in the chat here around when scanning, why does the Prism give the same results if questions are not answered? So for example, Life Pack Nano, collagen, and youth. And there's probably a few different ways to look at this, but if you're talking about the wellness assessment itself that you're doing and the products that you're putting into that, those products that are put into the assessment are considered and factored into the personal product recommendation. If you haven't yet done the wellness assessment, then of course that's not going to be included into your recommendation. That's a pretty basic recommendation model that's in there today. It does have some AI capabilities in there, but the future state is going to be much more robust as we look at the scientific studies, the personal use elements, so your wellness recommendation, your personal inputs to be able to form a better outcome. And so that technology, that capability of giving you personalized insight is going to be much more accurate. But please make sure that you're doing the wellness assessment, and also make sure that you're updating that wellness assessment. My habit on this is once a month, I just pull it up and then I update anything that has changed. For example, I'm now taking Life Pack Nano more regularly than I was before, and so I've updated that because I didn't have that previously, and then of course it just makes my recommendation more accurate.
Yeah, similar. I added G3 to my routine, and that has actually improved my score. Because I was youth in Life Pack, religiously youth like you for years. Yeah. Added Life Pack, but then I just added G3, and it is improving the score. But I think to AI, with the AI, please do take that assessment and do update it, because the more information we get, the smarter it gets, the better experience we're going to provide for you and for your customers. So the more we engage, the more we all benefit from that. So please do regularly go in, take the assessment, update it, encourage your customers to do it. We're all going to get better because of that.
Okay, so maybe let's spend a little more time on habits and specifically the power of habits, because as we were thinking about this today, or as I was, and kind of going through this point that Dr. Joe Chang made around, this is a behavior modifying technology. There's a human feedback loop built into this. But the power of Prism is really in daily use. As we all know, habits are the most powerful way of shaping any part of our lives. So whether we're trying to get after a fitness goal, whether we're trying to get after something within our work or within your business, setting those goals and then driving daily habits around the goals are really the way to do it. And I pulled up 3 different books that I felt are really powerful on goal setting. So one is Atomic Habits, right? So we have James Clear that talks about the real power of habits and building a life around those habits. The second one was Charles Duhigg that wrote The Power of Habits. And then the third one was Angela Duckworth, who as of course, when she talks about grit and persistency, perseverance, and all of that. All of this is kind of focusing on driving success in our daily habits. And so I was thinking about that, Justin, with Prism. You've got kind of 2 angles on habits. One is around the personal behavior that we're trying to train, right? So a healthier life, nutritional health, and kind of across the domains. The second one is around the business, right? And how to create daily habits around business. And we've had a few of our leaders on here. I was thinking about Frank and Abby Gibson last week or 2 weeks ago that were on talking about this. Tori Armstrong was on talking about how she's approaching the business. We've had just a bunch. Maddie's talked about this. But let's kind of dive into for a second, like the power of habits and what is it that Prism does or enables us to do that's maybe better than when we haven't had that. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I think it starts with making sure that you've actually gone in and written down some of these habits. What are some good habits I have, and what are some bad habits I have? For me, I jotted down some notes here. I'm a note guy. I like to write things down, and for me, if I start with what are my good habits and what are my bad habits and where do I want to improve, and just by starting there, it creates an awareness within me of the things that I do want to improve on. And I think as you do that, then from there you start to put a plan in place. And this is where Prism actually has really helped me, because there are certain fruits and vegetables that I really like, and there are others that I don't, that actually improve your score better. I love broccoli. I'm not a kale guy, but I've been eating more kale. So I've just wrote down some goals, wrote down some habits, good and bad, and then I've put a plan in place. So I think it starts there with some general awareness, self-awareness of what am I good at, what am I not good at, what are good habits, what are bad habits, and what am I going to do to address these.
Yeah, I think, and maybe those of you on the call, drop some ideas in here of what you do every day or week or month to drive kind of the change in behaviors. One of the things that I've thought about a lot, Justin, is this idea of, I think James Clear talks about habit stacking. So he really talks about this notion that, of course, as we know, anything, what gets measured gets improved. Anything that we do on a daily basis becomes, some studies say 8 days, some say 14 days, some say 28 days of doing the same thing over and over again drives behavior. But Clear talks about how you build a life and basically you stack your habits. So, for example, he talks about if you have a hard time working out, what you do is you put your workout clothes next to your bed so that every morning when you wake up, the first thing you do is you throw on your workout clothes, right? And then once you have your workout clothes on, you're far more likely to work out, right? So if you take that forward then and you think about, okay, everything that you need to do in your life. So let's take supplementation. I was not consistently thinking about taking LifePak Nano, and so what now my daily habit is when I get back out of the gym, I set it right next to my creatine. So I take the creatine and then my nano's right there, right? So those are micro habit stacks that we do. Then I get to the office, the first thing I do, Prism's sitting right there, so I scan myself. So finding these patterns of habit stacking is a way to really ensure that we start to build consistent capabilities as we go.
Yeah, I think that's a good example of this. I think so much of this too is mindset. Like one of the things from the Atomic Habit book was about changing your identity, being really clear about this. Like instead of saying I want to run a marathon, saying I am a runner. Or in this example of I want to be healthier. No, I'm a healthy person. And you start to reframe your own identity, the way you see yourself, and instead of I want to be healthier, I am a healthy person. I want to be fit. No, I am a fit person. And so I think so much of this is reframing, not just making a list and identifying bad habits, but even in the way we talk about ourselves and to ourselves and reframing our own identity. And so I think there are things we can do, visual reminders to cue us, but I think so much of this is the way we start to talk about ourselves and the way we view ourselves. And I want to run a marathon. I am a runner.
I love that. So I should start saying I'm a 900.
There you go.
Prism, right?
You just manifested.
Because I can't seem to break a few of my habits. My lack of sleep is killing me, and I can't quite break that. But I love that idea of instead of myself saying I'm a terrible sleeper, I need to start saying I'm a great sleeper.
I'm a great sleeper.
I sleep 8 hours a day, and I don't wake up at all.
If only we could manifest a 900 score, but unfortunately, we've got to do the work.
We've got to do it.
We've got to do the work.
So I saw Bar made a comment here. Bar, appreciate that comment about Sunday planning. And I think, some of these things sound so elementary, and yet how many of us do it? So, Bar, your point is every week, Sunday night, sitting down, looking over the various dimensions of your life and what you're working on, whether those are physical, spiritual, financial, family-related goals, however you structure that. building those goals out on the week, and then throughout the week you kind of have that top of mind. I do something similar every Monday morning is what I do for work, where I sit down and say, okay, what is everything we have to accomplish this week in work, and then what do I specifically need to do in order to drive value to this business. And so I love that idea, and I know a lot of people, I've heard this a lot from some of our top leaders of the goal setting process that's utilized, around the world. And so I don't think there's a one single model that works for everyone. I think the key is having a model that works for you and being able to lean into that consistently and persistently over time. And of course, adding in Prism is a key part of that.
Well, Roz put something in. Thank you. As I'm about to hop on a plane, I think this is a good. When you're traveling, make sure you make room for your supplements and that those are put in first. I actually, speaking of systems, I for so long I would remember to take my supplements with me, and sometimes I would forget. I now have just created a travel backpack that is the bag I just take with me whenever I travel. And I already have my life pack and my youth in it.
That's good.
So
that's a hack.
So it's a hack. It's a hack to make sure that when you're traveling, your supplements are included. So Roz, thank you for that tip. I think that's a good tip. But these are shortcuts. These are cues. It's Ryan putting his workout clothes and it's putting his life pack right next to his creatine. Like whatever we can do to shortcut or remind ourselves that these are the things that are important and these are habits that I want, and I'm going to be intentional about making sure those pieces are in place. So yes, that is good.
So maybe we transition this, Justin, a little bit from the habits side into the business building side. And this is something I know you've been very focused on as you've been traveling around the globe, meeting with leaders. We have, again, as you said, we have success trips going on in China right now. For Southeast Asia, there's a success trip that's going to be happening in Madrid, Spain next week, working with leaders. One of the things that we've been talking a lot about here at Nu Skin is this is an amazing consumer device. It's an amazing habit stacking, habit forming device. We're so excited about the data that we're getting from this and the insights, the power of the insights, and because this really is, human feedback in the loop, helping people to change and improve their healthy lifestyle. Additionally, though, it's sometimes we look well past the business application of this Prism IO and truly how disruptive it is. One of the things Joe Chang, as we were going back and forth this week, he said I think, or I believe that there is a severe underestimation of the power of Prism as a business device that is truly proprietary. Nobody else has this, right? And I've been thinking about that because we always hear that when you have something that's so unique that the world truly wants it, but so many people don't yet know about it. One of the things I think about from the habit side is how do we create habits of sharing Prism as a business opportunity more consistently, more persistently? How do we do that?
Well, I think you just hit on a key point. You think about the great companies of the world, and they do have differentiated products. They have a differentiated experience, and they've found a way to do it. They've been compelling and bundling it together and presenting it in a way that people want it. And this is as unique and proprietary as it gets. And you're right. Like it's easy to look at it and say, man, I just want to place these with as many customers as I possibly can, and that's a great approach. But at the same time, what if you could empower somebody with a tool that would enable them to build a business that would change their life? Many of you on this call have joined a Nu Skin business decades ago, or some of you just recently started, some of you may be considering. This is, I think, the most powerful tool, coupled with our really compelling comp plan that just got even more compelling in North America this last week. But when you think about the power of this as a business tool, to put this in the hands of somebody that can enable them to go out and share something so differentiated, it really can empower somebody to build a business and change their own personal outlook, their own financial outlook, the outlook for their family, because they've got this tool in their hand that's so differentiated. And so I think you hit on a key point. It is primarily a tool to help you grow your business. And when you look at it through that lens, what an opportunity we have in front of us, not just to help people live better. I love that part about this. Like, our ability to live our mission by helping people look, feel, and live better is powerful, and it's my favorite part. But as a business tool to help somebody grow their business, man, this thing is powerful that way.
Yeah. It is. And if we think about, so just some of the guests we've had on this call, I'm thinking about Scott Bennett, for example. So and how unique of opportunities that Prism presents from the different the different, call it target market segments.
Yeah.
So Scott's talking about, hey, medical professionals, clinicians, doctors' offices, all of that, and Scott took us through that, a whole set of examples of how he has done that and applied that approach to his business. We heard from Tori or Maddie, who are talking about, hey, within the social space, this is a way for them to build their businesses. Or Frank and Abby talking about taking it out and scanning coaches or sports teams, or taking it to sports games. And just creating and using it as a basically a nutrition starter, a thought starter.
Yeah.
And I think about the same thing of how do we find better opportunities to get out there and build businesses around there. One of the thoughts I've been having on this thing, because anytime a new technology, you talked about Apple, and we've talked about this before, but anytime you have something new that the world doesn't have, it presents that truly unique and proprietary model. And so I was thinking about, for example, the iPhone when it came out, the touch screen, how crazy that touch screen was, right?
Yeah.
Compared to the flip phone and the buttons that came about. This Prism is that unique. It's that differentiated from a business perspective. And I think there's a lot more to your point around looking for people who are looking for an opportunity,
Right.
From a business perspective, and looking for something that's truly differentiated and that they're able to take throughout the world.
Well, and just fold it so easily into their everyday life too, because when you think about the opportunities right now, the world's never had more business opportunities, more diverse business opportunities than we have today. And I think what people are looking for is flexibility. We've talked, in direct selling, there's this historical focus on flexibility and time freedom, and the world has that in spades now. And so this is where Prism IO, coupled with our powerful business model, really helps people. Meg Armstrong last week was on talking about, she's a personal trainer and really into fitness, and as she's leading these classes, how easy it is to be able to introduce somebody to, hey, who wants to know about their nutrition score, and have literally the whole class line up to come and get their score. And so as I've thought, I just jotted down a few. I mean, you mentioned gyms, CrossFit, boutique fitness studios, running clubs. You tell me that putting a Prism IO in one of these clubs wouldn't be a powerful tool. Of course it would. We've already had great success for decades in medical clinics, but these med spas and aesthetic clinics and skincare clinics. Your daughter opened a Pilates studio recently. I mean, these yoga, Pilates, meditation studios, cryotherapy, health food stores.
Yeah.
There's just so many applications of people who it wouldn't be a stretch for them to see exactly how that fit and how that created a better experience for their customers, for the people that they know. And so I think the more intentional we get about viewing this as a tool to grow my business, or a tool for me to empower somebody else to start their own business, and for them to then go and reach people that they know in these spaces, it's a powerful tool to grow your business.
Yeah.
And I think if we're that intentional, we're going to find people that are looking for their own business, looking for that flexibility and freedom, and what a powerful tool to help get them started.
Okay, so I was asking while you were talking there, so ask chat, how many fitness instructors are there out in the U.S. alone? And it came up with 381,000, according to a U.S. government report. How many nutritionists are out there? 81,600, according to U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. I mean, we're talking about massive numbers of people who are already in the business of nutritional health, right? And those are just two sectors. I mean, you and I could go, well, you have a list of 8, as you just said, but there's probably a dozen
many more
that health teachers, as you
Yeah.
talked about with Michelle. But there are so many people already in the business of nutrition and nutritional health that we, business is built upon targeting the right segments and going after that. So I think there are just so many applications of people already in the business, but they don't have the tool. And again, nobody's going to run, unless you're a physician, you're not running blood work. That's not a natural or an easy thing to do. And again, we're talking about absorption into the body, not just into the blood, right? So that's the other dynamic of Prism that's powerful. So yeah, if you have other thoughts, drop them into the chat here about how you are utilizing Prism IO as a business tool, and really leveraging that to attract new business people into the business.
I love this comment Lawrence posted. It's something you and I have discussed a number of times. Help others get what they want, and you'll get what you want. And isn't that true when you think about the power of when somebody knows how much you care, man, you'll do anything for that person when you know they care about you. And there is this mutual interest. And when you help somebody get what they want, by default, you almost always get what you want. And if somebody's looking for an opportunity to be able to improve their life, a business opportunity, and you go and position them with the tool to do that, in the end, they're going to get what they want, and you as their leader and their mentor are going to get what you want. So, Lawrence, thank you for that great reminder. I think it's an evergreen principle that will always be true, and just appreciate that reminder from you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Well, the one other thing that Justin, I think we could get into here that we haven't yet touched on, and it kind of pulls us back to where we started around Prism as basically a habit-forming, habit-creating type of technology. I feel like when we think about the Prism app and we think about those, that clover of diet, fitness, lifestyle, and supplementation, and we think about, if those are really the 4 domains of health, how do we actually form habits and create habits around all 4 of those areas, and then track against those 4? If each of us were to really focus in on those 4 elements and really get sharp around our own personal journey, to me one of the best ways of holding ourselves accountable, I guess would be the way to say that, is to then share that journey on social media and be able to provide that insight and that information out there so that other people can see what you're doing, how you're doing it. That's what I loved about a few of the guests that we've had on so far, is how active they are in sharing the journey around their personal transformation, which includes habits. And I think there's an application to business as well on that.
No doubt. And so if you haven't done it, I think it's a great reminder, Ryan. If you haven't yet done this, I encourage you to go and record your Prism score. There's some vulnerability that comes with this, but as you record your Prism score and then you share that publicly, 1, there's an accountability that comes, but 2, I guarantee you there are people in your feed that follow you that are interested. It is one of the most intriguing devices when you put your finger on it. Listening to my wife describe the enthusiasm of her students as they put their finger on this, it is fascinating. I've experienced this on the streets of Spain, where we were standing around and we're sitting on the device is on a table, and you've got crowds that just come gather around. People are interested, and if you put this out on social media, go and post within, I would encourage you to, everybody that you enroll, within their first 3 days, they've scanned, they got their score, and they've posted it on social media. But it's going to start with leading by example and doing that ourselves. I can with certainty almost guarantee that you're going to have people reach out and say, I want to know more. I'm fascinated by this. So I think there's an accountability that comes, but there's a business benefit that comes from that too, as you create interest and people reach out. So I'll extend that challenge. Within 3 days of signing up, all of your people have got their score and they've posted on social, but you as their leader have led by example and have done the same thing. I think you'll see big results.
I love it. And I think as we're all leaning into this, I have to remind us all, including myself, we're literally in the first inning, or we're, as I said with Buck, we're teeing off on the first hole of an 18-hole golf course. We're just getting started here. We have tens of thousands of these devices out there. Families, individuals and families are starting in this transformational journey, but it is so early stage. I feel like we're still in this mode of figuring it out, right? The technology is still evolving, the app is still evolving, and it will continue to evolve on both fronts. The product and the product science, which is one thing I didn't want to leave here, but without talking about the science behind not only the products, the vast amount of science that's there that is unparalleled on any supplements company that we're aware of, but specifically the science on Prism, biophotonic scanner, and scan certified products, which I know Europe is asking when we're going to get more in Europe, so we can talk about that. The thing that I think we all need to remember is that this device is not just a device with an app. It is backed by literally nearly 100 clinical studies that are independently backed clinical studies from leading universities. We've gone through the Yonsei University. We've gone through, we have talked through the Stanford study, North Carolina. There's multiple studies that are out there that are now
Jiaotong out of China.
Yeah, Jiaotong that are now validating and validating the science behind this. So I think as you're out there talking with people about Prism, know that this isn't just a device that the companies come up and created without the scientific backing. There is enormous amount of backing, and having then the confidence on the product side that as you're recommending the products coming from the Prism itself, know that there are scientific studies backing every one of those products, every single product we have that Prism IO recommends, that you can feel confident. And by the way, those scientific studies in an upcoming version of the app are going to be released and made accessible right there in the app so that you have easy access. When you provide the product recommendation out through the personal offer, the scientific studies will be, at least links will be attached to that to enable you to educate the consumer with those.
Yeah, so we are enhancing that app experience with the studies. But for now, if you want, you can also go to Nu Skin Product Insider and get all of those studies. There's a question of where can we get these studies. Go on Instagram, Nu Skin Product Insider, and you can find all of that. But we're going to make it really easy through the app. So yeah, it is. It's powerful, and it's validating that what we're saying is backed by science. But then it doesn't take a lot for you to go in and say, all right, this is where I thought I would be. Some people are really surprised, but I'll tell you, when I scanned my family, I knew pretty much where each of my kids and where my wife was going to come in. My wife's high 900s consistently. And I knew that I was going to have kids on the low end because they hate their vegetables and their fruits. So it's backed by science and it's validated by all this clinical research. But you go and use it. It's really quite intuitive if you're honest with yourself.
Well, no, that's great. So one other thing, and I do want to get to this question here that I mentioned earlier, which is, we have several people from our Europe region on this call, and thanks for joining us. Again, Justin's going to be there in just about 24 hours
soon
with some of our success trips. So if you're in Madrid, text Justin and see if you can say hello. But talking about, we only have 4 Prism certified products in Europe. Obviously a lot more in the U.S. But for me, this is kind of an interesting question. Of course, we are always looking to build out our portfolio around the globe. Of course, there are always regulatory restrictions in certain markets, including Europe, around carotenoid supplementation in particular, which is always a sensitive matter based upon local regulations. So just so that you're all aware, we're continuously looking at how do we get additional supplements in the market. Nevertheless, what I will say is if you have one Prism certified product, just one, you can build an enormous business with just one. And I'll use the case in point of collagen across our Latin America region. Collagen has, as many of you know or may not know, is, according to Steve Hatchett, it is our #1 unit, so SKU selling product on the planet. We sell more units of collagen than any other product. And the number one region that sells collagen is Latin America. So Latin America just started rolling out Prism over the last 2 months in a very limited fashion. And already we're really starting to see the connection between Prism and Beauty Focus Collagen Plus, which provides a Prism score benefit there. There are markets like Argentina that has built nearly its entire business on becoming the collagen company. So while we certainly appreciate and understand the concerns that we want more Prism certified products, I would just tell you that there are 400 million people across Europe that need collagen, or that need LifePak Basic, or that even need Nano. Whatever the product is that you have in front of you is the product that you can build an enormous market around, because I promise you, if you walk onto or get onto a train, if you walk to a supermarket and you walk inside that supermarket, I will near but guarantee you that less than 5 people of the 100 people in that supermarket have a product of quality of LifePak, or are on a collagen-based product, or have a G3, whatever that product is. And so you're surrounded by people who do not have access to these certified products. And let's remind us, certified means that it's guaranteed to increase your Prism score. In other words, it's guaranteed that that benefit is going to absorb all the way into your skin. That's true, effective supplementation.
Well, so guaranteed, and we're so confident that it will, that, as you know, we'll give you your money back if your score doesn't improve on these Prism certified products. But I love the point that you just made, because so many people feel confident in their ability to talk about beauty and or wellness. Some can cross over and do both. But I think one of the things that we've seen is people are trying to get more into wellness through Prism IO. There's an awareness that's come. Okay, I need to take my supplements. I need to do better. But the truth is, it is an intelligent beauty and wellness device. And it is helping us see that whether it's collagen, whether it's LifePak or youth, like, I can improve my score through a variety of products, but you don't need more than a couple. Like, yeah. And in fact, I'm thrilled to see the new LifePak rolling around the globe. Some markets already have it, the rest later this year. It is that easy. Collagen is such an easy product to sell, and it will improve your score. And then you add a supplement to it, and you'll improve your score even faster. So if you feel more comfortable in the beauty space, wonderful. Collagen's a great product for you with your Prism. I see a question down here about South Africa needs Prism. Coming this summer. Hang tight. It's almost there for you. We're working fast with regulators and your team there. It's coming soon, and we're rolling this new LifePak around the world soon. We're literally going to empower the world to live healthier, happier, and to know where they are.
I love it. Okay, well, so Justin, as we wrap up here, and in Buck would kill us if we didn't end the call with a call to action, right? So this is all great conversation around the power of habits, around the power of Prism to drive healthy habits, the power of Prism to help drive businesses. One of the things that I was just doing, like on a kind of a geometric mathematical basis is, and it's something I was talking with Buck about, is if everyone committed to 10 conversations a day about Prism, just 10, based upon our statistics, okay, so just based upon the statistics that Nu Skin has to date in terms of approaches and conversions off of approaches, and we'll take kind of a low case scenario that of 10 conversations a day, one of those conversations, at least one, and by the way, this isn't based on Prism data, this is just based on general,
it's
at
likely.
least one will turn into a purchase out of that.
Highly likely.
So if you think about that, and then again, the power of daily habits, 10 a day, converting one, that's 7 customers a day. You do that for 4 weeks. That's 28 to 30 customers a day. Each of those customers buying roughly $100 to $150, which is our average customer spend is $180 in the US at least. So you think about the math of that, that's clearly over $3,000 worth of revenue, more like $4,500 to $5,000, based upon that. Talk to 10 people a day, convert one, compound the ones. And by the way, if you get them on subscription every month, you're going to retain significantly more of those people. All of a sudden, as a brand representative, you're maintaining with subscription revenue, and you're then going on to create more brand reps. So I think the call to action that I would love is for everyone on this call between now and next Friday, just set a personal goal to talk to 10 people a day. Share one social media post, but talk to 10 people a day. And let's get back next week and find out how many people saw that 10 to 1. Maybe you saw 20 to 1. Maybe you saw 5 to 10. I don't know what your ratio
I'd
will
love
be.
to see those ratios.
But you're going to get better as you share it, as you practice it, as your confidence grows in just getting out and talking to people. This is too good. It's too exciting of both a product and consumer behavior changer as well as a business opportunity to not share it and to not do what Lawrence said, which is help people help themselves.
Yeah.
And have fun doing it.
Yeah, I echo that challenge. I would add a slant to invite at least one of those 10, if not all of the 10, to join you as an affiliate and empower them to be able to go through the experience that Ryan just described. That's the power of this model. When you start helping people start their own business, what Ryan describes is 3,000-4,000 points of volume. Of course, you're maintaining brand rep status, but the power of that, as many of you on here know, is when you help somebody else go through that experience, who helps somebody else go through that experience. Pretty soon, you're on your own success trip. Pretty soon, you've unlocked generations of the compensation plan that are having meaningful impact on your family income, and the power of this starts to really get manifest. Because in one of those 10 conversations, you had somebody that decided they too want to start their own business, and they too want to share this with the world. And as that compounds, we start to realize the power of this model, and you start to realize your potential as a leader. You start to unlock your greater talents that you didn't even know were there, but you become a better version of yourself. And that's what I love most about this business. So I echo the challenge, 10 conversations a day, at least one of those becoming a new affiliate. Watch your business grow. It'll be powerful.
And by the way, when you do that, share your story on social media. Tag Prism IO on Instagram. Let's make sure that we capture your stories. We see what you're doing out there, and you can share with the world. The world of Nu Skin's all going to get better. We're all on this global mission to be a force for good by empowering people to look, feel, and live better. That's what this company's all about. That's what you're all about. You've started with your own life. You've extended that through your team, and now it's time to take this to the world. So with that, you guys, let's wrap up. Just tell you, have a great week. Those who are traveling out to the success trips, safe travels, have an amazing experience. Use this as an opportunity to reset your goals, what you want to accomplish between now and the next success trip. If you haven't yet gotten on a success trip or you haven't been on one in a while, use today as an opportunity to sit down and set your goal about how you're going to leverage Prism IO to drive your business and your team towards achieving that trip. And then let's be back here 9 a.m. Mountain Time next week, where we'll dive back into Prism IO and we'll learn what your 10 invitations actually produce. So thank you all for all you do, and thanks for being committed to our mission to be a global force for good by empowering people to improve lives.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great
good
day.
one.
I didn't know.